I want to get into the
Yeah,
veganism.
veganism. Yeah, let's do it.
uh, yeah, you don't really
So
talk
tell me why
that
you're a
much about
vegan.
it. I'm not a vegan.
I know.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
yeah, I don't want to be the like. I'll bring it up insofar as that um, like I might mention that like I mentioned that I am. I'd say every so often because it'll like tie into something else. Like, well, obviously I don't think that like, dude, I'm a vegan. Like that's how I'll usually bring it up.
mhm.
Um, so like saying like I can't have that position. Like I'm a vegan. It would be contrary to like my values. So I think it comes up a bit like that, but yeah, I don't. I don't fit like the typical vegan in this space kind of mold, I would say. It's not my whole personality by any means.
Since when are you a vegan?
Um, let me see. Wow, time is really fun. I think a little over 3 years.
Okay. So, do you want to talk about it now, or do you want to have a formal debate on modern day debates?
Oh, you want to debate me on veganism? Oh
I
my
would
god.
debate you on veganism. I mean, I wanted to debate a guy
Yeah.
in the Discord channel of this Mike Brigandi guy, but he turns out to be a little crazy because he's like insulting people all the time, and he got banned from modern day debates. So I'm not sure if I want to do it, like to have like a shit show debate. But and I really want to do perspective philosophy also,
Yeah.
debate him on it. Um, but maybe just as a you can think about it at some point, but just as a quick thing, why do you
I
think veganism is the correct?
okay, sure. So, I guess I don't know that much about. Usually, I talk to people about this in a much more personal way. I don't know how many times I've actually debated somebody like um impersonally about it. So I guess I'll put it like this. I think that there is. I think that most people already know that it's bad. I think that most of the time, if you talk to somebody, you can have two people who are not vegan discussing. Like if somebody brings it up, like that, you like where food comes from and all that. It's a thing that most people avoid. Most people don't want to talk about it. There's a reason why people find vegans annoying, and it's not because uh they just disagree. It's because people don't want to think about it. I think that there's a cognitive dissonance with most people to where they don't want to see images of animals in getting mistreated in the farms where it's extremely common. They don't want to talk about the treatment of people in meatpacking facilities or slaughterhouses. They want to avoid all of these things because deep down they think that what they're doing is wrong and they want to distance themselves from it as much as possible. Um, I would say that there's probably very few things that are as close to there being an objective morality as there is the idea that torturing, killing, and raping and murdering animals for our own selfish desires is wrong. Like I feel like I don't know who said it, but somebody said you put a strawberry and a bunny into a baby's playpen. Which one is the baby going to play with, and which one is the baby going to eat?
Are you asking me?
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's rhetorical,
it's
but
yeah,
sure.
but
And I think
what
there's a
does it?
reason for this.
Yeah.
So when you're a kid and you find out and you come and you find out that the meat that you've been eating are animals, most kids are really upset by this and they get immediately comforted by their parents, and then they indoctrinate them. In order to not be vegan, you have to be indoctrinated because a child who isn't like they don't really have any capacity to decide anything on their own. Everything is given to them from their parent, idea wise. So a parent has to explain to the child that there's nothing wrong with this because the child will instinctively know that this is wrong. I don't want to kill animals. I don't want a pig to die. That's why there's a pork chop on my plate. You know what I mean?
But
That it offends them. Our human reaction to understanding that animals go through what they go through to become our food is horror, and we have to be convinced out of it when we're extremely malleable. right? Like, I don't think that even if you think that it's fighting animals, I feel like you have to agree with this. Like, if you seen a kid find out for the first time that their food comes from animals getting killed, and they're like, "Okay," you'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like, you'd probably, like, flinch at that, right? You'd be like, "That's weird. What the fuck's up with that kid? That's a
My
little psychopath."
my when I was like 5 or 6
Mhm.
in our village, like where my parents are from, where my father is from, there's still like it's a small village in the small like in the mountains and basically like
Mhm.
very remote and middle in the Middle East. And basically like they have sheep, they have herds and goats and cows and everything. And yeah, I the first time I saw like uh animal being slaughtered was like when I was like 6, 6 or maybe 7, but I think like about around that age. And our parents like tried to shield us from it. They didn't want us to see, but me and my cousins we like wanted to watch and like ran there.
Yeah,
And
nosy kids.
yeah, we were like curious. And yeah, of course, we were like after that we were sitting there all in silence. No one was like daring to say anything because like you don't want to be a pussy, but you also are a
You just
little
saw a horror
traumatized.
movie
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah, yeah, yeah,
in real life. Yeah.
yeah.
And
But
that
that's
was the real human reaction to that,
yeah,
because
but
you knew this is terrible.
no, I don't think so. You would
In
you would
that
have the
moment when you
you would,
seen it, you
bro,
knew
you would have the same
until
reaction
you
if you
were
would see
told.
birth.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sure you would.
Well,
If you
here's the
would
thing.
see a,
Almost
a
nobody
birth
sees birth
or
before being informed about the process. This is rare.
I mean it's really a mess, like, right? It can be a real
Although,
mess.
in all fairness, too,
And
most people would say that if it didn't necessitate, if life didn't require that to happen, we would be like, Nobody should ever do this. This is fucking terrible and
yeah,
wrong."
true, and I agree it's the same for animal slaughter. Like
But we
it's
don't have to do that.
yeah, I think we have
It's not
to.
necessary for life. How am I
Even if we
alive?
okay, I know actually like I think we have to, but that's not even my argument. Like there's certain like I don't really want to get into that argument because it's not even if I would concede your point, I would still be in that opinion, so it wouldn't change anything. Like
Sure.
if we have
Oh, I
to or not
appreciate
have to,
that.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
giving
yeah.
me red herring points. That's
Yeah, so
fantastic.
why would I argue with you? I just guess I guess I just want to know like why don't you feel the same way you feel about animals? Why don't you feel the same way about plants? Like just
So
because
sure.
they're not as
I
similar
don't think
as similar to you
no,
just
no,
because they
no.
don't have any blood, just because they don't have any eyes, just because they don't have any voice cords. Like
So, I've never seen a plant run for its life. I don't think a plant experiences fear, pain, and trauma the same way animals do. I don't think that they have the same capacity for suffering. And if I have to eat something,
but
I want to do it. I want to consume the thing that is going to bring about the least amount of suffering. Like, do you have a
but
dog? Have you ever had a
suffering,
dog?
yeah, but suffering is not the criterion we can use because you would never accept to that it's okay to kill someone if they don't suffer, right? It's not about suffering, it's about life, right? It's about the
Oh, wait, wait, wait,
preciousness
wait.
of life. Could we just kill
No, no, no,
animals
no.
without letting them suffer? Couldn't we do that?
An animal that is incapable of experience suffering is something that doesn't register to me as an animal. I don't know what that would be.
Then
So, like, for
no
example,
problem, no
I'd probably
animal,
be
no problem.
I would probably consider it's okay to eat clams. As far as I can tell, clams have no ability to feel pain. They don't have sentience, as far as I can tell. It just seems they're pretty close to plants. Jellyfish too. Jellyfish are basically just plants that can move.
But
They're
why?
literally just vessels for chemical reactions. I wouldn't really care if something was
What's
dead.
then the difference between jellyfish and the completely drugged out cow?
And the complete
If
what?
drugged out, like we give them lots of drugs so they don't feel any pain. A cow
No,
or chicken.
why? Okay, so
Both
this
not
is the reason. For
sentient, right?
one, yeah, yeah. We're when I say suffering, this predicates the idea that it is sentient.
Yeah, so
So
no problem.
I would say that I care about animals dying for the same reason that I care about people. I would say
Yeah,
there's
because
very little
life,
difference.
you think that life is precious, right? It's not about suffering,
Mm,
it's about life, like the preciousness of life.
well, so let me think. Well, I don't think about life as a precious thing per se, but I think about the experience that is being had is worth protecting the same way that um because even I don't care about just the death though. I guess that's the problem for me. It's not just the death that's the issue. It's the entire treatment, the
Okay,
entire all along the way.
let's
So
abstract from it. Let's just take the
yeah,
whole treatment, because with the treatment I agree with you. Like I think it's horrible the way we treat animals, yeah, but I still
I
think
do
we
think the
should.
killing is bad, but it's all of it. Every single bit of this
Okay,
is
but
bad to me.
on that point we're in the same opinion. Like all the rest, let's get rid of it, because there we're one opinion. Like in my opinion, like animal slaughter should be like the way we do it in the village in the mountains. Maybe a little bit better. There's a few points I would suggest there as well.
Sure,
Yeah.
and I'm not unreasonable. I'd say better is better. Like I think that if people eat meat, for the benefit of the person, I would say I prefer people to hunt their own meat than to have it raised to be killed and eaten. But I would still prefer neither. So part of the thing that you
Why?
get with hunting is that sure, because I care about people too. And I think that the cognitive dissonance in going to the grocery store and getting some chopped up animal and just thinking of it as meat and then frying it up, you're holding two different ideas in your head that this is just food and that this used to be an animal, but this one is taking precedent, and cognitive dissonance causes mental illness. This is
Oh
your
yeah, yeah.
brain is not good at holding two contrary ideas. It causes problems in
And
your ability to reason and logic, and it causes emotional problems too that are like way further down, like into your shadow. So I think that's a lot better for the person. I also think it's better for the animal because for the most part, they're living free, unburdened by the kinds of restrictions that animals that are farmed have on them. I still don't like that you're killing them, but I'd
why
rather
don't
have
you
them be
like
killed
that?
then.
That was my why. Like why don't you like that we're killing them?
I would say for the exact same reason that I don't think that somebody should kill another human being for their own
And
pleasure.
why don't you feel that same way about plants?
Lance,
Yeah,
so why do we care about people? So I can explain it, but I want to make sure that we're on the same page here. Why do we care when a human being gets killed?
because it's a human being.
But that's not an explanation. You're just describing what it is.
Yeah, I just put an arbitrary fence around human beings.
Mm. See, when
That's
I know
what
that a
I
human
do.
being is killed, okay. When I understand that some human being is killed, there's other things that I care about. I care about the people that are left behind. I care
Yeah.
about how that's going to impact the people
Hmm.
that are left behind. I care about the life that could have continued. They could have continued to have.
No, I mean in
These
my.
are the two things that I care about. For me,
Mhm.
these are the things that I care about. I care about the people that are left behind and how they're going to deal with it, and I care about the life that they could have lived that was essentially stolen from them.
Mhm.
And I'd say that it's wrong to steal from them. So I care
Mhm.
about that for the animal as well. One of the
Okay.
reasons why I stopped eating pigs first was because I
Mhm.
found out that pigs grieve the loss of their friends and family the same way like people do. And I thought I would hate the idea that somebody misses their best friend because I made an arbitrary choice of what I wanted to have for dinner. That really fucked me up. I was like, I can't do that. That's not worth it to me.
You would never put the life of an animal on the same level as the life of a human being.
Sure. If I have to pick between an animal and a person, it depends on the animal. For instance,
Why?
I'll kill somebody to protect my dog.
Really?
Oh, I love my dog. Yeah, if somebody kicked my dog and I had a gun, I'd
Ah,
probably
no.
shoot him.
No, sorry. Yeah. No, that's normal. That's normal. But would
Yeah,
you,
that's my girl.
if
You don't fuck with her.
yeah, but if the question would be that somebody is going to die or your dog is going to die,
Yeah, because those two factors that I talked about. One
you
of
would
them
still,
is because the
yeah.
life that person could have lived. For one, I would expect this person to have a much, much longer, more fulfilling experience. It was getting cut short than the animals. And two, because of the ripple effect that their death would have onto other human beings. If I pick the animal, this is probably, in most instances, going to stop and end with the animal. And even
What
if it's like a pig and the other pigs are going to mourn its death, then I understand too, this is still going to be a significantly less lived pain experience for the people for the animals that are left behind than the humans that are going to be left behind when this person is killed.
First of all, you don't
Grief,
know that.
grief can last forever. Yeah, correct. Like anything else, I'm making assumptions based on available information.
Okay, but what if it's a homeless person that is like has no one to mourn him and is like probably gonna die in the next 10 years from an overdose, or we just like
Then I would then then the thing that I would care about then is probably the ripple effect that it's going to have on.
no ripple
I
effect.
mean, there's,
It's just gonna go.
huh?
There is not gonna be any. I promise you that there is not gonna be any ripple effect.
So I would rather see a homeless person who had no friends or family, nobody that cared about them die
Hmm?
than have like Coco the gorilla die.
Really?
Yeah, the ripple effect of Coco the gorilla dying, if they're still alive, I don't know, would be much much greater. More pain and suffering will be caused by the death of Coco dying than this independent person who's not
Mhm.
impacting the lives of anybody else. Yeah, of course. Because and here's the problem too is that I'm a deontologist and you're forcing me into a situation where I have to take a utilitarian approach. So we're already in the realm of tragedy. When I have only bad choices available to me, then I have to become a utilitarian because I have no other metric by which to determine um, what to
Mhm.
do.
And
For me, I just
for
do what is right
if you
over
have
what's wrong.
the choice of killing a plant and a dog,
Yeah,
it's a no brainer, right? For you.
yeah. There's no ripple effect here,
No.
as far as I can ascertain. There's not. I'm not cutting off any life in the same way that I would talk about life. The
But
experience that the plant is going to have is
problem with
not.
yeah.
There's a quality of this experience, right? Like it's the same reason why if it's between like a dog or a uh, what's like a pretty or a fly, we're gonna pick the dog to live because the fly's experience is much less meaningful.
But you're just postponing the problem when you say utilitarianism, because you're saying which one. I'm asking you a moral question. Which one is better? Like which one's life is more valuable here? And you say your answer is the one, for example, where the
Oh,
mourning
you're
is
totally.
bigger. And then we have to ask ourselves, okay, whose mourning is more valuable? And we land up with the same question again, like which life is more valuable, right? Like is the pig mom and the pig dad more valuable than the human dad and the
I guess
human mom? You know what I
I
mean? Like
guess I
it's the
don't.
same question. You just postponed it.
No, I didn't postpone. I thought I resolved it. So I'd say it's wrong to do either, but since you're making me do one or the other, I'm going to have to adopt a utilitarian lens here and say
Which is
which is going to
postponing.
cause more harm.
Yeah, but that's
What do you
harm
mean?
is already including the word bad, and we have to figure out what bad is in the first
Right,
place.
right.
That was the
But I'm
original
saying
question.
I am engaging in it though. And I'm saying I like the reason why I picked Coco is
Yes.
because more bad is going to be done to more people when Coco dies than this homeless person who has no ties to anybody.
Yeah,
And
but
so when
bad.
I pick the plant, more harm is going to be done to uh more harm is going to be done to a greater number of beings if I kill the dog over the plant.
We are asking, when we are asking for a moral choice, we're asking for what's
Mhm.
bad, right? Or what's good and what's bad. Like, is it good to kill
Just
the animal, or is it good to choose the animal over the human or not? Or is it bad? Right? That's a moral question. And
Oh yeah, and
then
I say they're both bad.
no, but you say the one you have to choose the one that causes less bad. Like that's actually practically what you're saying.
Yes.
And bad
Yeah.
is again the same. That's what we're asking. We're asking what's
Yes.
bad. And you're
Yeah,
saying
and I mean, in
what's
each
more
scenario, I'm
bad.
giving you the answer.
No, the answer
Yeah.
is what's more, the one that is more bad. That's your answer. But we still don't know what's
Yeah,
bad for
I
you.
think it's case by case.
But what's bad for you? What does bad mean for you? Like if
In
you
this
say, for
instance,
example, the ripple effect of the mourning of the relatives, for example, then we have to compare
yeah.
again the mourning of the animal parents and the mourning of the human parents, and we still haven't answered the question which mourning is more important
Oh,
because
I
the value
did.
between these two is not clear yet, right?
Oh, okay, sure. So I'd say that the mourning of the people is worse because due to higher intelligence, there's going to be a greater capacity for mourning,
All
and
right.
because of
So
longevity.
so so you
Sorry,
so
I
you
didn't
could
know.
have just said that with the first question. You didn't have
I thought
to
I
say
did.
that about no. You don't have to what you're saying, the bigger value of the morning due to
Yeah,
higher intelligence. We could say the same
yeah.
thing about the value of the life, because at the end of the day, the suffering, you put a value, a price tag on the suffering, which ultimately is a price tag on the life, right?
Well, only when being forced into a choice. But yes,
Yeah,
because
you
otherwise
are
I'd
forced
say
into a
both are off the
choice.
table.
Yeah,
Sure.
you
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah, yeah.
forced into a choice. So we
Sure.
could have just, we didn't even had to take the detour to the morning. We could have just said more intelligence, more valuable life, bigger price tag on the life.
But that's not always true because the homeless person dies over cocoa.
The homeless person dies over cocoa, but
Yeah.
since we don't have the absolute, we don't have we have found out through this detour, we found out that you put a higher price tag, all things abstracted, you put a higher price tag on the value of the life of a human being than to of an animal, right?
Generally
Because
speaking,
of
yes.
intelligence. That was your explanation. And then I have to say, this is also a bad route
Sure,
that you're
but I don't like
taking.
that framing.
Yeah, but that's
Ultimately,
what you
yes,
said.
but the framing is misleading.
But you said that. I didn't say that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying yes, but the frame that you're putting in is misleading to my reasoning.
Why?
It the intelligence only matters here because of the capacity for suffering, which is
But
the
that's
thing
the
that I
way you
actually
feel,
care
and
about.
that's
Yeah,
okay. I
yeah,
mean, but it's a
sure.
bad route to take
But
because it doesn't work when you apply it within the human species. Then we run into problems, right? Because when we say
no,
now, yeah, when we say now the life of a dumber person is less valuable than the life of an intelligent person, I don't think so.
if so, which one do you kill then? If you have somebody who has 70 IQ and somebody who has 190 IQ, and you have to pick one of them to die, which one do you pick to die?
I don't.
Assuming everything is even. But you made me pick in the hypothetical. Now I'm
Yeah,
asking you to pick. I'm saying
I'm not
I'm saying both are off the table already, and then I engage with it in the instance that this is a tragedy. And if I don't pick, they both die.
Yeah, they
This is
both
what I'm
die.
assuming in your hypothetical.
Then they
Oh,
both
okay,
die.
okay. So then,
No,
why wouldn't you kill one?
no, no, no,
That's
no.
interesting.
It's just like for me, it's just like saying you could have said I don't want to decide. Like I could just flip a coin or something like that. But the problem with the animal and the human example is you would want to choose. Like
I don't.
okay,
That's why I
you
said
don't.
it's a
So
tragedy.
you would literally
I'm
like
being I said I'm being forced to do something that I think is wrong, and I never want to do this.
oh
I even said,
I'm
under
sorry.
any other circumstance, they're both off the table.
I thought off the table meant they don't die.
No, no, no. I meant it's not really something that I would ever entertain unless being forced to.
No, but I mean, for
Because
example,
I'm a deontologist. Killing
yeah,
for me, killing a human or killing an animal is wrong always. So you're making
yeah,
me pick between two wrong things.
exactly.
So
So
I would say that I would just say no.
you have
I don't pull the lever in the trolley problem.
you have the choice between an animal and a human being, all things abstracted. Like, let's just say between a plant and a dog,
Yeah, I pick the plant.
you'd always pick the plant, right?
Yeah.
Why is that okay? And why can't I do the same thing with animals? If I have to pick between, and why do we have so much difficulty doing it with
Because I don't think
human
that you have
to
to
animal?
pick between humans and animals. And
you don't have to, but it's a hypothetical.
sure, I'm saying this is the difference. When it's either plants or animals, I do ultimately have to pick because I have to eat something. But with humans and animals, I don't have to pick because there's never a situation where I would have to make that choice.
But there is objectively no differentiating factor between plant and animal that you can point to in order to justify killing one and not killing the other.
Oh, sure I can. Sentience, the capacity for suffering.
The capacity, sentience is a little bit difficult one because I don't really know what it means. What does it mean? To be able to feel?
To have an awareness.
What does it mean?
To have an awareness?
Yeah.
It's a qualia.
How do I know that you how do I know that you have an awareness? That you're not just a chatbot.
So, sure. But in the same way that we don't kill other people because we assume their awareness, I would say that that's the same reason why I don't kill animals.
That's not why I don't kill people.
So I assume that people have an awareness like I do because of how I see them behave. If they behaved in a way that was so alien from me, or they lacked behavior at all, which is really the key thing here. If they lacked all behavior, I would assume that they didn't have any sentience, and that's just something that looks like a human.
And then you would kill them.
The same thing as me.
Then you could kill them morally.
Then probably.
Really? I don't believe
I would probably think I might think that it's like a zombie or something at that point, you know.
I think you would still, even if it would be a zombie, you would, as long as it didn't attack you, you wouldn't kill it.
I probably would kill a zombie.
You wouldn't, like, no, not if it's not attacking you. No, you're like, what's wrong with the guy? Maybe he needs something. Maybe he's drunk. But
no. Well, if they're exhibiting behavior, like I said, if they're lacking any behavior,
would you kill a comatose person? Are you allowed to kill morally justified and allowed to kill a comatose person? Legality to the side. Would you be okay with somebody going into the hospital and smashing the guy that is in a coma, smashing his head with a baseball bat? Would you be okay with
that? The information I'm given is that they're never coming out of it.
You just said sentience, right? You didn't said that they can never go out, but it can also be, yeah, could be, yeah. Would you be okay with that?
If that's the case, yeah, I don't give a shit. That's not that's just garbage that's being delayed getting taken out. It's just a corpse that's still warm as far as I'm concerned. The only thing that I care about in relation to the comatose person is the people that are attached to it. I basically think of it as the family's property at that point, rather than a person.
Sorry, I forgot. Yeah. Then the same goes for a drugged out person. Would you be okay with somebody being drugged for the rest of his life and then just kill him?
No, I would say that it's wrong to put them into that state to begin with.
What if he already is in that state? Then you would also
be in that
like
state?
he just doesn't feel anything. We could just do the same thing with the animal.
Yeah, I would say that it's wrong to induce that state, though. When somebody's in a coma, I'm assuming they didn't choose this happening to them just by, life happening. They ended up in a coma. There's not like a thing that was approved to put them there. I would say if you're going to induce somebody into a coma just for the sake of doing it, I would say you're not allowed to do that. That's just as much as stealing. That's just as much stealing their life as killing them.
First of all, okay, you're ready to do a lot of things. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'll bite some bullets.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. No. Wait. First of all, you never know what sentience is, so you cannot. Like, it's the same as with consciousness.
I know what I think it is.
Yeah, but I don't know if you have any pain, real pain, or if it's just if you're just
Sure,
simulating.
but
Like I have no
I
idea to.
assume it.
Yeah, you
Sure,
assume
but this
it.
is how I
You
operate.
okay?
And it's the
Do
same way that you do too. You're pretty confident despite not knowing, and you behave as though you know. Me too.
you think that a plant has no sentience, right? That there is no feelings.
Yeah, just like a rock.
It's just like a rock. Why does it
Yeah,
move?
in terms of sentience.
Have you ever seen like a time lapse of a plant being touched?
Sure. But I've also seen vehicles move too. I don't think they're sentient.
Wait, what? You don't think that the plant? What does it mean that if you touch the plant and the plant moves away from the touch? What does it mean? That
It
means
means that there
that
was a
the
chemical
plant.
reaction,
Yeah, but that's
not
feeling.
a.
That's also a chemical reaction if you're being touched. That's the same
So,
thing.
as far as I am concerned, my understanding of sentience is concerned, is that it relies on some kind of neurosynaptic responses to stimuli, not simply chemical reactions. I can mix chemicals together and see a movement and a reaction happen, just like I can see it happen in plants. I have no reason to think that there's any intentionality of the plant, rather that there is simply a cause and effect. There is no there is no awareness of this chemical reaction. It just simply occurs.
Do you know that
But for
there's
sentient beings, there is an awareness of these chemical reactions. Deterministic or not, there's an awareness of it. And that awareness um, is valued because I like, just like I value my own.
I don't think that what you're saying is scientific because it is not disprovable what you're saying. Because like
It is just as yeah, correct.
no,
It
it's
is
not
not
provable.
falsifiable that
It's
plants
not
have
falsifiable. It's
sentience.
not falsifiable. Your thesis is impossible to falsify because all statements about consciousness and sentience is this is all metaphysics. It's not physics. Like every
Sure.
time I could say this all of the things that you said about plants I could say about you. I could just doubt that you have that. I could just say
You
yeah, that's just a
you
chemical
could, but you
reaction.
don't.
I don't because I have
I think
decided.
plants aren't alive for the same reason you think plants aren't alive.
You think plants aren't? No, I think that
Or
plants
sorry,
are
sentient,
alive.
sentient. Sorry, I meant sentient.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I think
I
they're not
also think
sentient for
that
the same
plants
reason that
are.
you think they're not.
No, I think plants are as sentient as you
There's no way
and
you think
me.
that.
No, I do. It's like when you mean when we have to maybe agree on what sentient means, but I think the there is no life without feeling. Like life is feeling. If there is no feeling, there is no life. That's there is no way to interact and have any form of living activity without having a form of sense of the world,
Why?
because then we would not consider it alive.
I think the thing that we look at when we talk about life is there a biological component to this? That's it.
Yeah,
I
and
think we look
but
at biological growth as the only metric,
yeah,
which
growth
does not necessarily have to be
growth
sentient.
is like interaction with the world, right? So when plants are, for example, communicating with each other, or they're like digging themselves into the ground, they're following the sun, right? Like when you have the sunflower, it's following the path of the sun. That's like that's why how we see that it's alive. It's like doing stuff, and in order to do that stuff, it needs to not see in the way that we see, but it has to have a feeling of the surrounding, and that's
What
sentience.
makes a
That's
robot not alive? So, would a fully mechanical robot be alive then?
yeah, and
It fits all
in
your
some way,
criteria.
in some way, it is like in some way you have the interaction. Like we would consider the robot alive the moment where it's starting to move and interact with the we
Yeah,
would
sure. Let's
call
say
it
we have a
sentient as
fully
well.
autonomous robot. Everything is predicated on sensors and all that. Um, but it doesn't speak. It doesn't have any independent assessment of anything. It's purely mechanical.
Mhm.
Would it bother you at all if it was harmed in the same way that we would call something else being harmed, like a human being harmed?
But you are putting the sentience
No, no,
argument.
I know. I'm trying to measure where you're at, though.
No, but sentience is not something that is bothering me for harming. I know that
Oh,
animals are
sorry,
sentient,
sorry. Do you think that
and I'm okay
sorry?
with
Do you think the
killing
robot's
them.
sentient?
Yeah.
I keep accidentally saying alive when I mean sentient. Do you think that robot's sentient?
I think, yeah, from our yeah, I think that the only, yes, of course, yeah, it's sentient because it has a grasp for its surrounding. Yeah, I mean, sentient
See,
just means
there's no computer
sentience.
in it. It's purely mechanical. No computer. Nothing digital. It's all gears. It's all gears
There
and
is no
like
computation.
no. So like
What
if
does
it,
it
it
do
when it
then?
detects things, it has little
How does it
it
detect
has
things?
so it has super sensitive solar panels so that it can detect when it's getting close to things, and the solar panel will move in response to the light to engage movement. You got big battery, you got gears, pulley systems, all that, and it's all just based on spatial awareness from super sensitive solar panels that sort of like pseudo visually map out its surroundings based on how much light is being applied to the solar panels at any given point.
Okay, wait, I will answer to that, but why is it important for our point?
Because I want to know if you would consider this to be sentient. Because to me, this would be just as sentient as a plant is.
Sentient to me feels, to me is interaction, is able to interact with the world, has a direct connection to the world.
Um, so a connection meaning it's two way.
No, it's one way.
Oh, okay. Um, hmm. Interesting.
So
So
there's,
maybe
it's
I
able
could
to
maybe
take
I could
input.
reduce this. Maybe I'll reduce this then to the thing that when I say sentience, obviously it's a stand-in here. I care about the ability to whether it does or not, I guess, but the ability to produce. When I say awareness, there has to be thought to predicate awareness.
So
So
now you
can
switch.
it
Okay,
can it have a
so
thought?
okay, so now it's
Yeah,
awareness, right? Okay,
I'm trying to clarify my words,
okay.
because when I say awareness, to me, the thinking predicates that. Um, because I would say that something that can't have a thought probably isn't sentient. Because how can you have awareness if you can't think? Yeah, you would have to be able to have a thought. Somebody who's in a coma, they can't have any more thoughts.
To me, it's like really, really obvious. Like when you look at, the way the plant is reacting to its surrounding, like it has
Yeah,
a feeling, like it has a knowledge of what is good for it and bad for it. It's like that's what pain is. Like that's the whole deal with pain. Like knowing what in the surrounding is harmful and what is good for you. That's like,
in
that's it.
awareness of that, yeah, but in awareness of that,
We don't
like
even know what that
if
means.
okay, sure. So to be able to have a thought about the pain changes whether or not pain matters.
The thought about the pain, that's a,
Yeah,
that's a
that's what I would
problem.
call the suffering.
There is no
That's why we
thought
care
about
about
the,
suffering. What happens when somebody stabs you and that pain is happening? You are having thoughts about that pain. You are processing that pain via your sentience through thoughts. This is the mechanism, right?
no, it's just nerves.
Mm, why do you think it is that some people can endure great amounts of pain without being phased by it? Because they've trained their mind to not acknowledge it.
Not everybody can feel the same amount of pain. There's always going to be deviances.
But people can train themselves to not acknowledge pain, yeah?
Yeah, true. But it's,
Which
yeah.
would probably be one of the most difficult things that somebody could do because pain is such a thought devouring process, yeah? And I know this for myself too because after my ADHD got treated, I don't experience reduced back pain, but I'm not focused on it as much, and therefore I'm not as miserable because of it. But
You
to
are,
think about the pain is what experiencing pain is.
but you are talking about something that is metaphysical, like awareness, consciousness. That's not something you will ever
That's
find.
why I brought it to physical. We know thoughts are real.
You,
Yeah,
you, no. The
they
thought
must
is
be.
no neurons firing. That's real. Like that's. I'm not saying thoughts are not real. I'm just saying that's
Okay.
physical. That's empirical, right? So you can have take your magnifying glass and you can find the neuron firing. Okay, but you
Get
can't
rid
see
of the
the thought.
science.
You will
You
never
and I
see the
both believe
thought.
in thoughts. So
Yeah, but
you
I
can
don't believe
argue
it.
against,
But I don't believe I'm gonna ever find it in physics.
but we don't care about that. You
Yes,
believe in it and you treat it like it's real unless you're
yes.
in a conversation about it and it doesn't and if you're in a conversation about it, then you
No, I'm
can
not
try
saying
to
it's not
dismiss it,
real.
but every day when you're living your life, you're going to treat it like it's real.
I
Well,
don't
I'm saying it's
dismiss it,
real. You're saying it's real.
but
Why are you trying to take it away now?
you are saying that you are not believing that plants have thoughts because you don't have
No.
any empirical evidence for it. And I'm
No.
saying that you
I didn't
can't
even
find
say
something.
empirical evidence. No, I'm saying
No, you
I have
said
no
there
reason
is
at
no.
all to believe it.
That's why I'm saying
I
it's
don't
not
have a feeling
falsifiable. That's
or
why I'm saying what you're saying is unscientific because it's not falsifiable what you're saying. And I'm trying to tell you, you can only arrive there by reason and logic if you are
yeah.
within these categories. But you are saying, yeah, we see it in animals, but we don't see it in
No.
plants. So you say you have a physical reason, the empiric reason for seeing it in animals, but you don't have an empiric reason to see it in plants. That's your
So
thesis.
I'm saying that the same reason that I value the suffering and exploitation of animals is the exact same reason why you value that in humans. Because I value it in humans too. I know I'm doing the same thing with animals as I am with humans. It doesn't mean I consider them equal, but I am
I
still
know,
considering their treatment in the from the same mechanism which I evaluate a human's suffering and care about it is
I
the
know,
same thing that I'm doing with animals.
I
And
know,
I don't
but
extend it to plants
why not?
for the same reason you don't.
What does that mean? So you think I'm justified in not doing it to plants? It's again the same question. You think I'm justified in not doing it to plants, but you don't think I'm justified doing it to animals. So again, you have
Wait,
to
wait, wait,
answer the
wait, wait,
question.
wait.
It's just a
Hang
negation
on.
of the same question.
Wait, wait. You're moving around my point here. And what I'm saying is, do you think it's okay to do you think that um chopping down an ear of corn and eating it is the same as slaughtering an animal and eating it? Do you
Yes,
think that?
yes.
Oh,
I don't think. To be honest, it's like this. It's really easy for me. The closer it gets to human, the worse it is. That's the way I feel. That's the way it is for me. So a chimp,
I care a lot less about insects than I do about like mammals, for instance.
yeah. Why?
Why?
Because it's closer.
Uh,
Because the mammal is just closer to you. It's just more like you. It's more similar to you. You have the same.
because
We have the exact
of my
same.
ability, because my understanding and my ability to conceive the suffering that that organism would endure. I
But
understand that I have limitations, so it's entirely
see,
possible
you're
that
doing
plants
it
do have
again.
these experiences.
You're doing
But
it again.
I'm granting you this.
No, you're doing it again. You again saying you have empirical evidence for something metaphysical, which is again the consciousness. Because you're saying suffering, but what you actually mean is consciousness.
Sure, but consciousness is also metaphysical.
That's what I'm saying. Consciousness is metaphysical, but and you're justifying you making a difference between the species by an empirical observation.
If I don't axiomatically believe in consciousness, then there's no reason not to kill another person.
If you don't believe in consciousness, there is no reason to kill another person,
Not to kill another person.
not to kill another person. Yeah, still doesn't explain why
Well, I'm
you would
saying I
make the
do
difference.
axiomatically believe. I
Yeah, but
axiomatically
it
believe
still wouldn't
consciousness
explain to us why you would grant the consciousness to the animal but not to the plant. I see that.
because
That's what you're saying. Yeah,
it matches the thing that I'm looking for in people.
empirically, right?
No, it's just my own observations. My own
How?
observation
How?
of how I'm
What's an
processing it with my feelings and
what is an
thoughts.
observation? An observation is if empirical
Well,
data.
it's really tough when you're putting it in this framing. So like if my ability to perceive my own observations is predicated on my consciousness, which isn't empirical, then how can any observation be empirical? I'm trying to work within
Every
the
observation is empirical.
okay, sure. Then in that case, I have observed plants never once showing any signs of consciousness.
You can't see consciousness.
I
You
can see
can only
evidence
see
of it.
the same way you can't see thought.
Correct,
You
but I
can
can
see
see evidence of
neurons.
it.
Yeah, you can see neurons, but you can't see thought, right?
I don't need to before we discovered the neuron, you could take me back in time, wipe my memory of there ever being anything called a neuron, and I would still be using the same mechanism that I use today to determine whether or not something is conscious. I wouldn't just go, oh, because I know that this dog has neurons, it must be conscious. That's not
Yeah,
the
of
metric which I
course.
use.
The neurons are the same thing as sounds that come out of your mouth. It's the same. It's
Right.
both empirical data.
I can see evidence of this. When
Yes,
I hit a person, they cower. When I hit a dog or a pig, it cowers. When I hit a tree, it does nothing. When I cut my grass, it does nothing like this. It does not respond to stimuli in the same way that things that I would label as conscious does.
but it's just
A
because
tree
it's not as
reacts very similarly to a rock than it does to anything else that I label as conscious, right?
it's the same way,
It's
the same the same rule applies there. Everything that is closer to human in its behavior, in its empirical behavior, you give it the quality of consciousness. The more human it is, if the tree would have eyes and started crying and saying, "Please, elder, don't kill me," you would not say that. It's just because
if it had given if it had
it's
given
not
me
like
any
you.
evidence, if every time somebody went up to a tree, one of the branches smacked it away, I would be like, probably shouldn't fuck with this tree, not for our own safety, but like it seems like something's happening here.
Do you think your feelings
This is
would
making me feel like it's
change? I
conscious.
don't believe your feelings would change at all if we would find out that that plants are, for example, have a nervous system. I don't think your feelings would change about it.
If I found out that they had well, so oysters have nervous systems to some degree, but they don't have there's no like brain. They have a very rudimentary nervous system. There's no brain. It has no ability to have like thought. It can't acknowledge pain or anything like that. So I don't care if I would consider like oysters to be vegan
Because because of what?
because it does not have the hardware that I understand consciousness arises from. It lacks that hardware.
You think you think
Yeah,
consciousness is
from every
limited to a certain type of hardware, right?
yeah, I think that there's certain amount of a certain type of biology that consciousness emerges from. At least this is as good of a guess as we have, and it seems to line up with all the signifiers for consciousness. Like obviously, I can't tell if somebody's walking around with no brain in their head; they're being controlled by like I don't know some invisible
Nothing.
puppet master. But this is
Mhm.
the metric which I would always use in every instance. And oysters don't have that. They
I
don't
think
respond
nothing
the same
would
way.
change in your feelings about this if
If I found
all
out
of
that
the
plants had a fully conscious experience and they were
yes,
suffering, like,
yes,
oh, I would have an existential crisis. Are you kidding me?
maybe, but you would just continue to feel the same way about killing one and killing the other.
No, I might stop being vegan if that's the case. I might think that it's all pointless at that point. I would be totally, I would have to reevaluate everything at that point.
No, I mean
I would be
when you would
wrecked.
see a tree being chopped off, and you would compare it with seeing a goat having its throat sliced up. You would feel the same. You would feel the same way. It wouldn't change anything for you.
It would change. Yeah, I would. I would have to reevaluate my entire worldview. I would be really fucked up about it. I would feel betrayed by the universe, by my own senses, by my ability to perceive and understand the world around me. I would. It would be a really big deal for me.
Why is it so? Would it surprise you?
Oh yeah,
Really?
because I'm extremely confident that the quality in humans and animals that I care about does not exist within plants.
What would
Even
you
if I have
have
a
to?
hard time explaining it,
What would you?
I'm very confident about what it is.
Since you derive like consciousness from empirical data, what would be the what empirical data would you have to see in order to accept consciousness of plants? Communication,
um,
for example.
Language.
Yeah, communication. Yeah.
Well, in order for it to be compelling, I would say because not life doesn't require language, but in order for something as abstract as a plant with nothing that is already like invalidated its capacity for a conscious experience by lacking the one thing that my understanding necessitates it, I would need some like extraordinary evidence to suggest that there's something that can surpass that. So like if like the chemical releases were able from plants were able to be broken down into like a codex and then decoded, and there would be like and we could use that to have like a conversation back and forth with a plant, that would traumatize me.
No, but you don't have a conversation back and forth with animals either.
Cool,
Like
that would be what would justify
most
having language.
animals, not
Correct.
just.
What I'm saying is that I don't require that for animals because I'm already able to skip a lot of these things because they do have the hardware, they do exhibit other signs that I immediately understand to be a conscious sentient being. Like they already pre-qualified through all these other things, and since a plant can't walk around and like move based on its will and all that, then it has no way of expressing its will to me to show me that like there's thoughts in there, that there's an experience being had. I would need something. The bar would have to be quite high to convince me that there's something happening that's essentially invisible to any of my other abilities to observe. And I would have to say language. If we could break down that there's a language in proven by having communication. I mean, and the communication could simply be like we released the chemicals like based on the codex that they broke down, and then it gave us a response by releasing the chemicals in a sequence that we could break down to determine that there's a language here. So
So
yeah, the
you,
bar would be pretty high because it defies any other way that would work for every other thing that we would say is conscious.
but don't you see that all of this is just a proxy for saying more like me? Like you just like there is no. We don't have any evidence that
Mm.
consciousness is something that is only possible on a particular set of hardware. Like we don't have any evidence for that because we can't have
if
any
an
evidence for
evil
that.
if an evil wizard came up to my house and turned my child into a tree, I would still protect that tree because I knew that there was consciousness that my kid did have, and I have no idea what is happening now, but because I understand that there is, despite the fact that what I just saw defies everything I understand is possible, um, I know that where my kid was and that tree now is, there was a conscious experience happening. In order to preserve what might be there, I would still protect it differently than I would any other tree, right? I think that you would probably feel compelled to do the same, right?
Yeah, but I don't see how that's
It's
relevant.
because there's this
And
conscious experience that we care about. Because you
I'm
already
not
don't care
sure.
about trees.
No, I don't. I'm not sure if I know what you mean. Like there is no. We don't have any evidence that consciousness and brains are a necessity for having consciousness. There is no evidence for that,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So
However,
how can you say that the more they have the hardware for it, Like we don't have the connection between hardware and consciousness.
We have correlation, which is something that we don't have with plants.
You just have one correlation, one case.
Yeah,
And that's
everything
yourself. That is yourself. There's not more than one case. There's just one case where you really have consciousness, where you know that there is consciousness.
Sure. Well, no, not even there. Because I mean, if we want to spin it that far down, I don't know that I'm real. I could be the product of a thought of something else. All that we can truly say for sure, objectively, is that something somewhere is thinking. A thought is being had.
That's you. That's you.
No, it might not be me though.
No, that's you.
It could just be another. It is possible
maybe
that
it
what I'm
doesn't look like
experiencing is the
you.
thought of something else.
No, maybe it doesn't look like you, but it's you.
Sure. If what you're saying is that the thing that is thinking, creating this idea of me, thinking that it's me,
That's you.
would just revert back to that original source, and I could call that me. Okay. But the me that I think that I am might not be this.
Yes,
right?
it might not be like this.
Yeah, I could be something else having a dream.
Yes.
My experience of being me could be a product of a dream that I'm whatever I truly am is having.
So but you know for sure that you have a consciousness, right? So because you think that.
Yeah, and
so you know of the existence of one consciousness, and that's yours, and there you have a correlation with the brain, and otherwise we don't know if consciousness is not something that could be on every type of hardware, including computers. That could be some kind of consciousness, including plants, including animals. So
it's only when we have conversations like this that this is ever even contended, though. So this is the problem, is that every day when you and I interact in our daily lives, as much as you can possibly believe anything, we believe that other people are having a conscious experience. We believe that other people are real, that when I'm talking to you and you're talking to me, that there's something happening here because we're both conscious beings exchanging information with each other. We behave our entire lives as though this is true. But when I want to apply it,
that's not true.
You don't? I do.
No, wait. I do now. I do now. I do. No, actually, I'm not sure. But there is compelling. There is so many people that believe in simulation theory. There is so many people that believe in determinism. Like there is so many.
People that believe in simulation theory don't act like there's no consequences, though.
Yeah, because it doesn't change anything. It could be all be it doesn't change anything, but we don't not everybody thinks the same way about consciousness as you are suggesting we do. We don't all force, like, it's not something that we have to think. We don't have to think that I don't have to think that you're conscious in order for me to talk about you, that you have a consciousness.
Right?
You could be a simulation. And
right, but I take for granted that I'm not.
I would still get the same thing out of it. Like I would still have fun talking with you.
Yeah, whether or not I'm a simulation is the same question to me as to whether or not there is a God. It's just as irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly. So there is we don't have any evidence that consciousness only happens on a certain set of hardware, and we don't have any evidence for saying that that certain type of behavior is evidence for consciousness. So your argument that because you have evidence for animals having consciousness. No, you say.
Why do I think that you're conscious? Is because it's not just because you look like me. It's because you behave in a way that makes sense. So, like, my idea of consciousness is not just my own experience. My idea of what consciousness is my own experience in contrast with how I see other people acting as well, right? I have like an amalgamation of what a conscious experience is my own experience and seeing how other people engage with their conscious experience. This is how I make up my ideas of what it is.
You don't know that other people have a conscious experience. You don't have a verified case of conscious experience. You just have one.
My idea of what it is, my idea of what consciousness is not predicated only on mine. It is predicated on the assumption that other people are having it too, and what that is reported to me to be like.
You don't need that.
And it's sort of a mix of these two things.
Why do you need this assumption?
That's how it happens. It's not about need. It's about how it works.
No, why does it work that way? I don't think so. You could be in a simulation and you would still do the same thing.
Yeah. Correct.
So why do you need
Because
uh,
their simulated conscious experience would still be the same thing that I'm talking about. It would still be just as simulated as mine is, and they would still be equal, and
no,
still
in
be
the
just as taken for
simulation
granted.
yours would be real, the rest would not be real,
Wait, why would mine be real in a simulation?
because
I
that's
could
the
just be
definition of
programmed
a
by
simulation. That's the definition
no,
of a
no, no.
simulation. Yes?
The simulation is all of it, including myself, is just a
No.
software. Yes.
No, not maybe
Simulation theory
your
doesn't mean that I'm
body.
the only thing that's real.
Yes, it means exactly that.
No, 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 no.
Want to bet?
No, no. The simulation theory is that it's all program on a big computer, including
Yes.
me.
Or whatever. It doesn't have to be including maybe your body, but not you, not you.
Each character in this video game of the simulation thinks they're real, just like I do.
No, except you. Like it could be like this. Could be like this. Either it is we're all in a simulation, we're like multiplayer, or single player.
Mhm.
That's the only two options. There is no
There's
zero
no
player.
players.
There
Yeah,
is no
yeah, yeah.
zero player simulation.
Yeah, have you ever played a football game and then you can just like skip the games that you're not playing? They'll just play each other. They'll just play it out, and
Yeah,
you
we
can watch it
wouldn't.
play if you
Yeah,
want
that's a
to.
video.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're
That's
all
that's
we're
a
all
live
that in
rendered video.
simulation
That's not a
theory.
simulation. We would never call that a simulation. That's a
Well,
video.
it when you watch it, it literally calls it like, do you want to simulate the game, or you can just skip it
Yeah,
and
that's
get
a
the
misuse
results.
of the word. Then it's not the correct use of the word.
Yeah, I would say in simulation theory, I'm just as not real as you are.
Wait, we have to get back on track. You cannot
Yeah,
say that you have evidence for consciousness if we don't have any way of relating consciousness to a certain type of observation. It's not like we don't have a
sure.
correlation. No,
Yes,
it's
yes.
no, we don't. We don't. Because with correlation, you know what it is? It's like, oh, thing X happens. I can prove that thing X happened. And the
Yeah,
second thing happened too. Oh, that one I can prove as well. So there is a correlation. It happened
yeah.
simultaneously.
It seems like these
But
things
in this
happen
case,
in relation to
you
each other.
only can prove one. You can prove the existence of a brain, for example. But where is
Mhm.
the consciousness? Where did you prove that it existed? You didn't.
Sure,
So
but
where is
we
the
take for
correlation
granted.
between the two?
Hang on. What I'm saying is that just like I can't know that anybody but me is having a conscious experience, I assume it. And for the same reason that I assume that, I assume it about animals. And that reason does not
And
end up
why not
transferring
about
onto
plants?
plants
Why not?
because the metric in which I use to gauge whether or not someone is having a conscious experience, the way that I'm able to tell that this person in front of me is a conscious being
But you
and
can
not a
never
corpse,
tell. You can never tell. No,
this
you can tell. That's not consciousness.
I bet you with a pretty high degree of certainty, I can tell when I'm looking at a person or a body without any decay.
Yeah, you can say the same. You can tell the same about a living plant and a dead plant.
Okay, that's not. So you agree with that, right? This is
You can
and
see if there's
the way in
energy.
which
Yeah, you can see energy. You can see energy being there and energy not being there. Yes.
I would say that there are features that I can identify within a person to tell whether they are having a conscious experience or they're not. Just like I can tell if a person is awake or asleep or dead. I can differentiate between all these split second, very easy for me to identify, right? And when it gets a little bit trickier, I can do really simple tests that'll give me the answer, right?
Not right, because you could be wrong. It's
Oh,
not a proven thing. Like it's not like consciousness is not something measurable.
right. But it's something that I have never been incorrect about.
You don't know that. Like
Just as
how would
much
you
as I can
measure
know
that?
anything
How
else.
would you can measure a lot of things. Like you could say I know how cold it is and then you could measure it, right?
Right. And here's the thing. There are things that to me, I know them that are impossible for anybody to ever know. But I treat it the same as though I have hard concrete fact, just like everybody else does.
I see, but
We all do
my
this.
problem with your assumption about consciousness in animals
Yeah.
or consciousness in plants is that you can arrive to a truth in that matter not by physical evidence, empirical evidence, because it's a metaphysical object. You cannot derive it from physical observations.
I
That's
would
my
say
problem.
that
Like,
the vast majority of things that we know are based on this thing where we have a sufficient enough reasoning, although not provable by any empirical means, we suppose that it is true. And we treat it as though it is true. We treat it with the same value that we treat things that are empirically true. And it is by this process which I ascertain the consciousness of humans and animals. And when I apply the same process to plants, I do not arrive at the same conclusion. This is why I personally don't value plants the same way that I value animals and people. And I think it's the same
yes,
reason why everybody else does as well.
and the process you're using is basically just how similar is something to me, to humans. Like that's the only process you're using when you're making all of your assessments about how conscious something is, how sentient something is. It's always just how human is it. That's the only thing you're valuing. Like you're looking at, is it crying? Is it like
If that's how you're
screaming?
going to look at it, if that's how you're looking at it, then you can't even say how human. You're just saying how me.
What?
Can I
Yeah,
empathize with it?
yeah. But at the end of the day, we're so similar in the things that you're looking for. We can extend it to the whole human species,
See, you
and we already
see. This is the thing.
yeah.
You care about certain things there that I don't. Then I don't care
Why?
nearly as much about. I don't care. I don't care about this idea of human or not. I care about the experiences that I'm guessing at when I'm observing another being. So like we said earlier, I don't value humans the same way that I value a person, but sometimes I value animals more. Most people
Wait,
do.
what? You
If
say that again because you said I don't value humans as much as I value a person.
Yeah, so when it comes to life, generally speaking, I'm going to favor the human's life over the animal's life, but we don't always value their experiences the same. For instance, if I walk up and I'm like, "Hey, how's it going, buddy?" and I punch you on the arm, you're like, "Fuck, like I hit you too hard." You might be pretty upset, and if somebody's seen it, like, you shouldn't have hit him that hard. But if somebody walked up to a dog and they hit him the same way that you would punch a human a little too hard, like, what the fuck? That's fucked up. You've done a wrong, bad thing now. Most people have that kind of reaction, like, because it doesn't even understand why you did that. And we care that it doesn't understand that you did that. That's why we would call that animal abuse. We wouldn't say that I abused you. It just might be that I put more pepper behind my aggressive gesture when seeing you, right? In this case, we're going to elevate the animal's experience of that same interaction higher.
Wait, why is you just said that? That's what I wanted to comment like from the beginning. How you said now that the life of an animal is less valuable than the life of a human being, right?
If you're, like I said, if it's gun to my head and I have to pick one or they both die, most of the time I pick the person to live.
Yeah,
Most
but
of the time.
so
We've already
generally,
established that.
so all things
But
equal, all things
all
equal,
experiences, yeah, but there's some
then
experiences that
why?
an
Well,
animal would have, the same as a person, that almost universally we would value the animal's negative experience over the humans. Like example of if I punch you in the arm like a little too hard and you're like, "Ow, what the fuck?" Uh,
we would
I can get away
value
with
the
that with like a
animal's negative experience over the humans?
yeah. So yeah,
No,
in my
we wouldn't.
scenario, if I hit you a little too hard when I see you, like, "Hey, what's up?" and you're like, "Ow, what the fuck?" I can get away with by saying like, "My bad, dude. I didn't mean to do that." And like somebody who sees that isn't probably gonna freak out. But if you walk into a
Yeah,
room
but
and you hit a
strongly
dog,
depends on the culture. Like that strongly depends on in which culture we're talking about. Like maybe
I,
in our Western culture with dogs that are living at home and stuff like that, yeah, maybe, but not in like a more rural area. And like 99% of the world wouldn't be like this. But what's so interesting is that you're saying that you are
I would
already
find it
making a
abhorrent.
value. Come again?
I would find it abhorrent if somebody just socked a dog.
Yeah, I mean, me too. But we were socialized in a different way, you know. But you already established that. How can you defend if consciousness is? Then you are saying the dog is less conscious. Like if you have the value difference between the life of a dog and a human, then you're already saying
I don't say
okay.
less conscious.
But you have to put a criteria. It all comes back to more human.
No, because I picked Coco over the homeless guy.
Yeah, but because you need to have so many other things on the balance, you know, like in order to change that. It's just like abortion, you know, like
Right,
it's the
because you're
same.
forcing me into a utilitarian position because everything is a bad option.
You should never take the utilitarianism doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything.
it's a tragedy. Yeah, it's something that should never happen. But if I have to pick something bad, this is something that I never ever want to do. So I can only then enter utilitarian perspective because I have no other way of which measuring what to do. Right?
I
Like
have a
if I'm a
question for you.
utilitarian, something
Mhm.
terrible has happened.
You're doing the same thing as the pro-life guys, okay? They're also doing
I'm
there's
actually pro-choice.
yeah, and I can imagine, but you're still doing the same thing with animals. You ask a pro-life guy, okay, would you rather kill 5 embryos or one baby? And they exactly react the way you react. They freak out and they don't, but they know exactly that actually they would always pick the baby over the embryo, and that just shows that our whole value of life, the value of the price tag on the life, is way higher on the baby than on the embryo. All things equal, like not
I care
even
about the
equal, like
experience. Yeah, I care about the experience.
they say
The baby could have a bad experience. Embryo, as far as I know, can't.
they don't think that.
Oh
They
well,
don't.
yeah.
They
No,
they
wait. If I think that the embryo can have experience just like the baby can, then I'd say they're equal. Just one's bigger. Well, the fuck do I give a shit about the size or the development? I don't care. It's exactly the same then. But I don't think that
why?
because I don't have any reason to. The information that I'm operating under
The
is
reason
that it's not
again
until a certain
just means it
it's
doesn't do
not
what
until
you do. It doesn't sit on the computer and plays video games.
no,
That's
it's
the
not going.
reason why it's
Hang on.
not. Yeah.
No, because it's not going to experience suffering when
How do you
the
know?
bad thing happens.
How do
This
you
is
know?
so I can't know as much as I can't know anything outside of my own experience, but this is my best guess. Just like every single decision that I make in my entire life, I'm taking my best guess with the information that I assume to be correct. And with the information that I assume to be correct would tell me that an embryo isn't going to have that experience, but the baby will. But if we're going to say that the embryo will have the same experience as the baby, they're equally bad.
You don't know
'Cause
the
that's all I care
experience.
about.
You can just derive the
Correct.
experience from the same. Like you look at how would I react. Like you
Yeah,
see.
I said the ability to empathize is important. It's like it's a pretty big factor here.
Yeah, but
But part of the thing that
scientifically
yeah,
we know that there is
we
no
don't make most decisions
correlation.
based on science.
Yeah, but you claim that you need science to prove to you that plants are sentient. And I'm
Yeah, because
telling you
I don't believe it though. If I believed it, I wouldn't need science to show me it. I'm saying I would need some
that's
kind of
really
scientific
comfortable.
proof because I don't believe it. Right?
You
I don't need science to show me that you are sentient. I no science could exist and I would believe this. But if I didn't believe it, it seems like science could make a pretty good case for it for me,
science
right?
cannot make a case for you
It could make a
for
pretty
that.
good case for me.
It can
For
only
me,
show
it
you
could.
how much it can only show you how much empirically I am similar to you.
It would tick the
That's what science
boxes
can show you.
for me.
Science can show you
Sure.
that I can that I have a brain. Science can show you that I have a nervous system. Science can show you that like empirical data can only show you how similar I am to you physically.
Okay, so let me. Yeah, most of the things that we really care about, we don't need science to prove shit to us for. When I'm hungry, science can't explain to me what the experience of hunger is like, but I know what I want to do about it. I know how I value my hunger, and I know how I value relieving it. Science has nothing to do with this. Science can't tell me what
But
it's like
you
to be horny or to have an orgasm.
you
They can tell me the
want
biological process. It gives me no information about those experiences,
I don't
right?
want anything from science.
But
I
I
don't
value
want
them anyways.
but I don't want anything from science. You want science to prove to you that animals are sentient. And you want
No, I
science.
don't.
Yeah, you don't,
I
of
want
course,
I
because it would shatter
I don't
your whole
no.
belief system. But
Wait, did you
you
mean
that's the
plants? You said animals.
no, I mean
I think you meant
plants.
plants then, right?
I meant
Oh,
plants.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I don't no,
So
if they did, I would accept it. But because I have no reason to I would
it
need some
can't,
extraordinary
it
proof
can't,
because
it
I
can't,
don't accept it.
it can't show. It can only describe you the way the plant is. And you are putting the assumption there that in order to be sentient or to have consciousness, that there is that science can show that to you, but it can't. Like it can only show you how similar it is to you. And you have one case of consciousness, which is your own consciousness, and you say, okay, it's really similar to me. Then it must have similar thoughts and feelings. But there is no evidence for that. So what I'm telling you is
I'm
let's look at
agreeing.
it. Let's look at it metaphysically. Let's look at it logically. Fuck the
Yeah,
science.
I've
Like
never disagreed with
I'm
this.
saying fuck the science. Like I'm saying fuck the
Okay, yeah.
science because
I
there is no
I agree that
scientific
it is
method to show us consciousness. Consciousness is metaphysics. So the
yeah,
only
I've
way.
agreed with this the whole time.
Okay, great. Then let's think about it. Like, how can something be alive? Like, because you agree that a plant is alive, right?
Yeah, but I still think of it as different than when we're talking about other things that are alive. But sure.
Why is it different? Now you're going to say consciousness, right? But you agree that something is alive, and that means because you already yourself are jumping to the conclusion directly, alive means consciousness.
No, an AI can never be alive, but I think it could become sentient and and have a consciousness, like have a conscious experience at some point.
Come again? Say that
But it would
again.
never be alive.
It,
In artificial intelligence could become self-aware. It could start to have its own thoughts and experiences, separate from us, like artificial general intelligence. It would never be alive, but it would still be a conscious being.
I have no idea.
No, I'm saying this is what I think.
No, and you don't know either. We don't know. Like I don't know. I just
Correct,
know.
but this is metaphysics. This is metaphysically. I'm saying that I would
Yeah,
not.
but
There's alive is a scientific question,
yes,
right? And by that metric, AI could never be alive. At least as so far as that it's contained within the confines of a computer. It's not alive. It is just a it's just in a it's just in the shell. It's a simulated thing that has an emergent conscious property. We're saying, okay, it's sentient. It's self-aware. It's aware of us, it's aware of itself. This is a conscious experience is happening here, and I think that that should be valued and protected like other forms of consciousness, but I would never say that it's alive. Alive requires a biological organic process.
why?
Why? Well, my understanding of what living means is that.
Okay, maybe we have like metaphysics just means we constructed something above physics. So it's a construct. Like the term alive
Yeah,
is
I know
like
what metaphysics are.
yeah, we constructed it over and this
But
connection.
I think alive, something being a living thing is a scientific question. I think that consciousness is not a scientific question.
Okay,
So, but to determine if something is alive, we would say, okay, is there a
so what's
biological component to this? Okay,
is that
cool.
the
Are there biological processes active and if so, are the active biological processes like a forward progressing thing, or is this leading to these processes slowing down, shutting off, or stopped? If they're all stopped, then we'd say it's not alive anymore, but it
Hmm.
was. And if they're happening, we say yes, this is alive. That wouldn't be present in a sentient artificial intelligence. But we can say there's a conscious experience happening. This is the thing that I care about, not the yes or no binary, alive or dead. Like if
I
I thought
think
people
there
had
is a
souls,
like
I would feel a lot different about a lot of things.
I would argue that there is a I would argue that there is a less restrictive definition of alive that we would all agree.
Except for me, I wouldn't agree with it then,
Yeah,
probably.
I think you would agree as well. Like we would have an understanding of what a robot being alive means. When we say that our phones died, we know what we mean, right?
This is
Like
an
there is no
analogy,
more.
though.
Yeah,
Nobody
but
thinks that. You say my phone died, but we never say my phone's
yeah,
alive. That's a terrifying statement that would
yeah,
catch everybody off guard. My phone died. Nobody mourns it for you, right?
yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God, your phone
yeah.
died. Are you okay? Go ahead and take the rest of the day off of work. No, that's not how we think of it.
So you would really say that alive is not, but it doesn't matter. I think like when you look at it from a just logical perspective, logical point of view, um, that there is no.
You're moving away from my AI
There is no way of
representation.
having life, like that's something we agree. I wanted to talk about life because life is a metaphysical construct that we agree on. Like we
No,
would
no.
both say that the plant is alive.
Life is a scientific question, in my
Okay,
opinion.
then
Can be scientifically determined.
okay.
That's how we know when somebody's dead. We could know if somebody was dead without ever interacting with them, right? They could be in a sealed room.
We would have to draw, like we would have to say which part of it, like
When the bioelectrical processes in the mind or the heart stops beating, we don't have to even see the person. We could just have sensors hooked up to them and feed us that information. We could tell when they died with a very high degree of certainty. We'd know that they were dead because it's a scientific question whether something's alive or
yeah,
not.
but what they is a metaphysical question again, because when does they stop? You know, like because
Sure.
then then we are again in metaphysical in the
Which is a
metaphysical
different
realm.
question than alive or dead, because they is a metaphysical question, but alive or not is a scientific question. They are two separate things, which is why we sometimes talk about the possibility of a conscious experience after death.
Alive to me is just not reacting anymore, not
Okay.
nothing happening, like the absence of action.
To me,
Like sorry,
life is a
not
question of the
life.
biology.
It's the opposite. Like not alive, being dead. Like is the
Yeah.
absence of action.
Well,
So
not alive and dead aren't necessarily the same thing. Um, because before I was born, I wasn't alive, but I wasn't
mm-hmm,
dead.
mm-hmm.
Dead is what happens when you're not alive after being alive.
Yeah, I think it's the same.
Well, I mean, but there's
Yeah,
like the way in which we use the language here, there's a meaningful difference between being not alive and being dead. Because it's like this spectrum, it's like this timeline. It's sort of like a reference to a timeline. Not alive, not alive, not alive, alive,
mm-hmm.
dead,
Yeah,
and
that's yeah,
also not alive.
yeah,
Yeah. Dead is the state of being not alive after being alive.
yeah.
But you can't be dead before you're
But
born.
if you say it's a physical thing,
Yeah.
then it's then dead and not alive is the same thing.
So like if
You
you were
can't
able to take
say
if you
yeah.
were able to take your consciousness and put it into a computer, would you say that person's still alive, or would you say they're dead? You seen their corpse. The thing that we are
But that's a whole
referencing as
different
they
question.
isn't in
That's a
there
whole
anymore.
different problem. Like you're opening box after box of whole different
What I'm
problems.
doing,
What we
wait,
are
the
trying to
reason I'm
get
doing
at.
this, well, yeah, I have a reason. I have a reason. The reason is because the thing that I care about is that thing that's not in their body anymore, and it is now in the computer. I care about that thing, that conscious experience, that sentient
I
that
feel like
the
that's
computer without a body has and is not alive, and that plant that is alive that I don't think has it. So I'm trying to express to you that I can show you a scenario where being alive doesn't assume a conscious experience, and never being alive and not
wait.
having a living body can produce it.
I'm not
That
sure I
that's why
agree. I
that's why
don't
I'm
think
going
I
with
agree
this.
because yeah, I think we went too far away because now we've opened like 3 or 4 other different questions. What it means to be alive, like that's like
Yet
because
these, I guess, these are things that seem like they have to be resolved because you're caught on the plant thing, and we have a fundamental
yeah,
disagreement about the nature of plants and the value of that
just to
nature of
be
them.
just to be clear, you are saying my empirical evidence is not suggesting to me that plants are sentient. My empirical evidence is suggesting to me that animals are sentient, and my empirical evidence is
I'll even take it a
suggesting to
step down. I'll
me
say my feeling. At the end of the day, really, it's just how I feel about it, right? These are my
yes,
feelings.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. I don't feel like plants are alive, or sorry, I don't feel like plants are sentient. I don't feel like plants have a consciousness. So I'm even granting you a flimsier
yeah.
ground for myself because I'll acknowledge that it is, but I'll also
So you
probably
would have
attack
no
some of your
moral.
positions in the
So
same
you
way.
would have no moral problem with me eating animals then.
No, I have a feeling that animals do have that thing that I care about, which is why I
Yeah.
don't eat them.
So
You can't doubt that I believe that because I don't eat them, even though I really like the taste. I ate them for a long time.
yeah, but yeah, I have to think about this another
Okay.
time.
Do you wanna try to set up something of modern day debate and we can
We
debate on
should.
it?
Yeah, yeah, we should. We should. We
All right,
should
I'm
do
in the
it.
Discord now. This is good too. My friend is about to come over. I told him at
Hmm.
3. I didn't think we'd go for this long, so I was like, "Yeah,
We went
they can
pretty
come over at 3.
long.
That's fine." Yeah.
Yeah, we
By the
went
way,
pretty long.
I enjoyed talking to you. I think you're a pretty cool guy.
Same,
I'm
man.
gonna shoot you an invite to my Discord if you want.
Yeah,
I'm gonna shoot
definitely.
it to you unless you tell me no, basically. But it's really nice to talk to you.
Same, man.
Um I think that if you put some effort into it, I think that you'll do good things in the space. I like the way that you approach things. The only thing that I didn't like here is how quickly you ran away from my sentient AI example.
We will come
Um,
back to it. I have like
but
I
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
yeah, yeah. We will definitely. I promise you, we will
That
come back to it.
it's a personal criticism and not like a broad one that I'm putting on you.
No, I agree. I
That's my
agree.
own little mini grudge about this conversation.
No, I
That's it. That's
agree
it.
that there was a point where I didn't want to go. That's true. That's true. I agree.
But yeah, that was one of the most enjoyable debates I've had about veganism. We
Cool,
went to
man.
interesting places, and I didn't
Yeah.
even get to touch on why it's bad for people. But
Yeah, yeah. We don't care about that. I don't think we care about it.
well, because you care about people, so I'd say you shouldn't do it if you care about people
Yeah,
too.
but I like most of the time like of my life I smoked and drank and didn't give a fuck about my health. So
No, no, not
yeah.
about you. I mean about
Ah, okay.
humanity.
Ah, okay, okay.
Slaughterhouse workers, particularly, is where I'm gonna go with that in the future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
fucked. It's
yeah, I
so
know.
bad.
But like t-shirts, computers,
No,
like
no, 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 no,
cobalt
no, 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 no.
mines.
It's
Come
so
on,
much worse
man.
than
You
all that.
can't say
It
it's
is.
worse
It is.
than cobalt mines.
Right, before I go,
Lithium
let me put it
batteries.
this way. It Those things cause physical harm that's pretty bad. Only police that see a high amount of action and soldiers that see a lot of combat and slaughterhouse workers get a particular form of PTSD. It's like pits. They get DID. They get dissociative identity disorder to where their brain like essentially assigns them a new personality to deal with the horrors of their job.
I wanna. I mean,
It's
it
fucking insane.
could be.
There's
Could
a
be.
guy at Tyson whose job is to read and help people fill out forms because people don't want to work there so bad that there's enough illiterate people to sign up for that job that they have to have somebody whose job it is just to read them their information and help them get through the forms.
There, I absolutely agree. Like,
It's tragic.
no, I agree, 100%. On that front, you can't debate me because I will always agree to everything you're saying.
Oh,
Definitely.
good. Well, maybe next time you go to get a cheeseburger, think about that person who's about to murder their girlfriend because of the psychological
my
trauma they've
cheeseburger.
endured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will.
Well, all right, buddy. It was super nice to meet you. How do I pronounce your name? I was about to say, what do I call you? But I have your screen name. But how do I pronounce it?
Board Kenneck.
Kenneck. Okay.
Yeah. You can just say board. You can just say Kenneck. You can say whatever you want.
All right. I'll probably go with Kenneck. It was really nice to meet you, man. I'll shoot you a link to my Discord. I hope to hear from you soon.
Same, man. Definitely. Let's do it. Let's set something up on modern day debates. And I'll be
100%. Okay. Sounds good.
Take care, bro.
Take care.